Tired of the USA? Want a fresh start? Well, listen up, because I'm going to tell you about countries practically begging millennials to move to their countries. That's right, some of these countries are going as far as offering people money to live there, work there, and maybe start a business there. That's what we're looking at today. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look. Number 6, Chile. If you love to travel, you already know Chile looks like someone stretched a country into a bookmark and then sprinkled it with every landscape possible. Up north, you got desert so dry that clouds file HR complaints. In the middle, you got Santiago humming along as a modern capital wedged between the Andes and the coast. The kind of place where you could ski in the morning and argue about seafood in the afternoon. And way down south, Patagonia piles up mountains like a show-off geology student, with wind that can relocate your hat to another time zone. So here's a tiny selective crash course in Chilean history, because you're classy like that. Long before the Spanish showed up in the 1500s,
Tierra! A la vista!
indigenous people were running the place and resisting anyone who tried to tell them otherwise.
What do you think these dudes want?
Chile declared independence in 1818, rode the nitrate boom in the 19th century, and then copper became the star in the 20th. They had some huge mines, pretty much destroying the landscape, but, turning Chile into the metalhead of South America. Along the way, Chile earned the global rep for sturdy institutions, world-class wine, and earthquakes that politely remind everyone to bolt their bookshelves to the wall. For decades, the economy was known for digging up shiny things. But in recent years, they've been trying to switch things up from hard hats to hoodies. Enter Startup Chile, the government-backed accelerator that basically said, what if we bribe the world's entrepreneurs with sunshine, great people, great food, and equity-free money? Since 2016, Startup Chile has been handing out grants through 3 programs that are pretty much straightforward. They've got one called Build, and that gives you around 10 million pesos or $14,000, a co-working space, and a 1-year resident fee so you could actually stick around instead of pitching from the airport Wi-Fi. They also got a program called Ignite, which is for startups that kind of fast-paced. You got to get it running within 4 months. They'll give you up to 30,000 American dollars. And then you got one called Growth. And that's for bigger projects and bigger companies, and you can get up to $80,000 with that. Now, I've never applied, but they say applying is refreshingly painless. Fill out a form about your business or your idea. Yes, you can do that entirely in English. If the selection committee likes what they see, you'll be invited for an interview to explain your grand vision and why your market is totally real and not just your cousin's focus group. Bottom line, if you've got a good idea and you need someplace to start it, Chile's willing to listen. Number 5, Denmark. Denmark isn't one of the countries that, starts handing out cash to move there. But if you're an entrepreneur, an investor, or a digital nomad who likes your coffee strong and your bureaucracy surprisingly polite, Denmark is a smart move. Relocating gets you into a pretty cool club. It's got top-tier education, universal healthcare, and a welfare system so sensible it could probably organize your inbox. Geographically, Denmark is coastal and gloriously flat. The kind of flat where bicycles aren't a hobby, they're a lifestyle. Danes bike to work, to school, to the bakery, and probably lecture you about helmet safety. The water is clean, the streets look like someone pressure washes them every morning, and the urban design is so thoughtful you'll feel guilty for every cul-de-sac you've ever lived on. Denmark is routinely ranked among the happiest countries on Earth. Always. They always show up in those lists. You ask them if they've ever thought about moving to the United States, and they're like, why? They're probably thinking, why? I didn't do anything wrong. Why would I go there? Now, a little history about Denmark. 1,000 years ago, Denmark's Vikings were out exploring and occasionally borrowing things from their neighbors. Call it aggressive tourism. Later came royal unions and maritime trade, and by 19th century, Denmark had settled into a constitutional monarchy that still swears a crown, but lets Parliament run the spreadsheets. After the 20th century bumps, the country doubled down on a high-trust society, built a famously sturdy social safety net, and pivoted hard into modern design, green energy, and companies that make your childhood better. Yes, Lego. And no, you're never too old to build some Legos. Today, that mix of historical seafaring swagger and modern Scandinavian efficiency show up in a startup scene that actually works. You get predictable rules, easy access to the EU market, and a government that treats founders like functional adults. Denmark is a great place to live. They have low crime, great healthcare, livability scores that go through the roof. And everyone's pretty much fit because they bike everywhere. Sure, they don't offer a relocation bribe or anything like that, but it might be worth it anyway. And they're happy to have you. Just fill out the paperwork. Number 4, Italy. Italy has been collecting civilizations like fridge magnets for over 3,000 years. First you had the Etruscans setting trends, then the Romans building roads straighter than your uncle's opinions. The empire's fall, the peninsula fractured into city-states that competed by inventing baking, opera, and the Renaissance. Fast forward past a few centuries of who owns what, and in 1861 the place finally unifies. North and South still joke about each other, everyone agrees the coffee is better than yours, and the trains are shockingly punctual unless soccer is involved. This is the backdrop for Italy's newest hobby, paying you to move to its most charming, underpopulated corners. There are 2 cities that are really itching to get you in there. Candela, which is urban Italy on easy mode, narrow streets, old stone houses, and only about 2,700 neighbors. So your barista will know your order and your gossip by week 2. The city is offering right around $900 for a single person to move there and about $2,000 for a family. Sure, that's not Ferrari buy-in money, but it's pretty nice. The other one's called Sambuca and it's on Sicily. It's right in wine country and you could buy a house there for €1. Does this house come with ocean views? Do they have 5 rooms and a butler? No, absolutely not. But for €1, that leaves most people with a lot of wiggle room to make it what they can. Now, they have a few others, but those are the 2 that I was kind of focused on because they have programs that I know are still going on, and they're very interesting. The one on Sicily, though, that one's right in the middle of wine country, so if you're a big wine fan, it's a win-win. Plus, if you move there, you could make a mint on YouTube or Instagram or TikTok just documenting moving there and buying a house for €1. Number 3, Switzerland. Switzerland. Thinking about moving somewhere quiet, clean, and punctual enough to make your Fitbit feel lazy? Say hello to Alpine, a postcard glued to a mountainside in Switzerland. The village is losing young folks faster than a snowball melts in July, so they're sweetening the deal. They'll pay you $25,000 to move into this town, plus an extra $10,000 per kid. They've got some fine print you need to know about. First of all, you have to be under 45 and actually stick around full-time for at least 10 years. Not a pop in, collect your cash, and ghost the situation. Now keep in mind, this is Switzerland after all, and this is the land that saw all the drama going on in Europe and said, you know what, we're gonna stay neutral. Then they made a bunch of cheese and chocolate and lived happily ever after. Bunch of watches too. The Swiss Confederation dates back to 1291, when a handful of cantons decided teamwork beats getting conquered every other Tuesday. Fast forward through William Tell's apple trick, centuries of not invading anybody, and the invention of railways that actually arrive so on time it's a little unsettling. And you've got a country with direct democracy, 4 national languages, and a national hobby of being extremely well organized. I would never survive here. I'm so unorganized. Alpine puts you right in the Alps, where the scenery knocks the air out of your lungs before the altitude even gets a chance. If you want to see more on this one, there is a video that the Yes Theory just did recently. They went there and they checked it out, and there are some hoops you gotta jump through. It's not just show up and collect your cash. But just recently they decided to up this offer, so it's still going on. In the Yes Theory video, they ran into some Canadians that are already living there, so you'll have some North America camaraderie if you decide to pull this off. Number 2, New Zealand. Thinking about moving somewhere gorgeous enough to make your screensaver jealous? Welcome to New Zealand, a place where the mountains look photoshopped, the fjords act like they're auditioning for a perfume commercial, and the sheep outnumber you by, an uncomfortable margin, I'd say. It's no surprise people want to move here, and lucky for you, it's one of the rare countries where small towns will actually sweeten the deal just to get you in. Katenkata, yes, it sounds like a fancy espresso drink, and no, you can't order it with oat milk, is trying to boost its population. They're not going to hand you a sack of cash, but they do have some offers that are worth about 165,000 American dollars. That's 2025. You'll probably have to throw some more of your own money in there because 165,000 isn't going to get you a house here, but it sure helps. A little history about New Zealand. Long before jet boats and bungee cords, the first people were Maori people. They were master navigators who crossed the Pacific and settled here roughly 700 years ago. Fast forward to 1642 when Dutch explorer Abel Tasman showed up, and he got map credit for it. And then in 1769, Captain James Cook arrived with more detailed charts and fewer vowels. After a treaty here or there came waves of settlers, an economy that leaned on fine art and turning grass into dairy, and eventually national identity that somehow blends with rugby, respect for nature, and a bird that forgot how to fly. Now, if you're all about adventure, New Zealand is for you. I mean, from the jet boats, like I said earlier, and the bungee cord stuff to amazing hikes. The beaches look like they were designed for sunsets, and of course there's all kinds of Lord of the Rings history here. The town itself is small and friendly. This is all farmland, so if you've got a hankering to do some farming here, maybe this is the town for you. The coastline isn't too far away and they got a golf club. It's only got 9 holes though. I think this is one of the only golf courses I've ever seen where there's a chance your ball, if hit too hard, could end up in a cemetery. If all that sounds good to you, head to New Zealand. Alright, before we get to number 1, if you've not subscribed to this channel, we'd really appreciate it if you did so, and hit that like button while you're at it. Alright, on to number 1. And number 1, the island of Mauritius. Mauritius isn't just a postcard with a beach, it's an island east of Madagascar that's trying to poach your ambitions. If you've got a business idea you actually believe in, the government will throw you a welcome present of about 20,000 of their rupees, which is about 450 bucks. It's not much, but it's a beautiful island. That'll at least get you there and get you started. Are you going to be retiring on a yacht? Absolutely not. But if you've ever dreamed of living on an island, a beautiful tropical type island, this is your gateway. I was on a cruise, one of the workers, she's a wonderful girl. She is from here. It was amazing. She told us all about it. Now, I added this one on because this is a beautiful place, and I doubt any of you are going to go for this one. It's just amazing. Now, here's the twist most people miss. Mauritius isn't some lonely speck with hotels and tourist shops. It's a functioning country with a thriving economy, solid infrastructure, and a government that understands the word growth. The weather here is great, the schools are high quality, and the residents have access to free healthcare. That means families don't have to choose between opportunity and quality of life. You could build your company without treating basic services like luxury items. Culturally, it's a mix of just about everything. You got African, Indian, European, and Chinese influences. So you're not pitching to a single monolithic market. You're testing and selling to a small but diverse ecosystem that can sharpen your product faster than you'd expect. Now you just got to have a good plan. I think it's a great place to go if you want to start a YouTube channel and hire some editors and stuff. You got to teach them how to edit. I doubt they know. Well, I'm sure they have some people, but still. This place is famous for having the underground waterfall, which you saw on the thumbnail. It's an amazing place. That's a real photo. That's not AI. But most people have never even heard of this island, and they want people to know about it, not just for vacations. They want people to come there, they want people to live there, and they want you to, help populate their island. If you want to do this, you'll have to pitch to a committee, and they're looking for unique and profitable, not, I once sold 3 candles at a yard sale. They're not looking for that kind of business proposal. Show how you'll make money, who you'll serve, and why they should believe your plan won't stink the minute it leaves the dock. There's a ton of really good videos about this island that, for an island not many people know about, it's got a lot of footage out there. Take a look at it. Tell me what you think. Alright, that's today's video. There were a few other ones that I'll tell you about, but they're really not that big of a deal. You've got Korea, Thailand, and Vietnam. They've all got programs, but those are for the most part just going to pay your moving fees. That's it. All 3 of these are very different countries, so pick and choose. And, if you need help moving there, they'll help you out. You also have a village in Spain called Ponga, but we've talked about that on a previous video. They're still offering money to get you to move there. Saskatchewan in Canada has a graduate retention program that aims to keep college graduates by offering about $20,000 Canadian or $15,000 US dollar in tax returns. Canada will pay you to live there for 10 years as long as you maintain residency and file taxes. The only catch is you must graduate from a post-secondary school on their list of approved institutions. So it's not show up, make a promise, and collect your $15,000. Of course, Ireland still has a program going, but we talked about that on a previous video. And finally, we have a few different cities or towns, I should say, in the United States that are offering free land for anyone that'll come there, live there, and build a house. Again, we went over that at length on a past video. All right, everyone, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, be nice to each other.